Hello and welcome to tutorial 130. I was recently asked to update tutorial 49 to enable the lines drawn in that tutorial to be set to different colors, different thicknesses, different styles. Now tutorial 49 draws a linear regression channel, and I've got it applied to this chart, and you can see now that by changing the format options for this analysis technique, which is tutorial 49 mod W color style options, not a very good name, but if you go to tutorial 49 you'll be able to see it. You can change the colors, so we could change, for example, red could become dark blue, and we could change the styles, for example, to number 2 from solid to some sort of dash line, and we could change the line thickness. So let's do that and see what we get, and you'll see now that we have a blue line at the top, also the dashed situation has changed, and so on. So that was an interesting and not too difficult tutorial, because tutorial 49 uses the TradeStation legacy drawing tools. But what I thought it'd be interesting to do is just extend that to modify the program so that it also plotted these lines. And that's what I've done in this tutorial. So let's go ahead and switch the program on. So I'm just going to go back to analysis techniques. I'm going to turn off tutorial 49 and I'm turning on the tutorial 130, and you'll see now that we've got it applied to the chart. Now, one of the big advantages of using plot is that we can format it very straightforwardly using the standard TradeStation formatting tools, using, for example, color, style, so we could change the thickness of the lines, the transparency of the lines, and so on. And then if we included the drawing tools and the plots, we can get interesting effects like you can see here, where we've got a plot overlaid on top of a drawing, or vice versa, I don't know. But anyway, let's go and look at the program. So this is the new program, and it's actually not too difficult to make the modifications. So if you were to open tutorial 49, this would be mostly familiar. In this program, we have 3 different graph options. I'm just going to show you those. I've done some little graphics on the tutorial webpage. Okay, so the first option, graph option 1, means that the linear regression channel is applied to a user input number of bars at the end of the chart, and it stays in that position, and it's just updated as the bars change. The second one, graph option number 2, in this case, the lines are drawn every time a new bar begins, and you get this sort of dog's breakfast of linear regression lines. Maybe not the most useful. And then graph option 3, this means that the linear regression channel is drawn on the chart when the program's first applied to the chart, and it will just stay in that position for those specific bars, and as new bars are added to the chart, it just shifts across. So that's the way that the graph option works. It's the same in the new program. So let's just go and see what changes I made. And let's begin with graph option number 3, and that can be found lower down in the program. So the existing code drew the lines, as you can see here, and styled them. Now what we want to do is we want to do that instead by plotting. So what we do is we go from 0 to numbers -1. So this is a 0 based index, and we start with the first bar. That's the current bar. Okay, so let's begin with value 1 is equal to 0. Now numbers in our case is 20. So plot for the current bar is equal to numbers minus value 1, which is 0. So numbers minus value 1 is 20 times by m plus c, which is the y-intercept. Now that would be the equivalent of the value right. So let's just see how that is calculated for the lines, and you'll see that right is equal to numbers times m plus c, which is exactly the same. And then we go through each bar in turn, going through this loop until we get to the last bar, which in other words we've got to numbers -1, which would be 19. So we're going to say plot 19. So this is the leftmost bar. So numbers, which is 20, minus value 1, which is 19, gives us 1. So that would be m plus c. That would be equivalent to left. And if we just check how we calculate left, you'll see that left is equal to m plus c, so it's exactly the same. And then of course the bars in between, they just gradually increase based on the slope. And then in order to add the standard deviations, we just do that using the numdevs up times standard deviation, numdevs down, and we've actually in this case got two upper lines, two upper deviations and two lower deviations. So that is graph option 3. So graph option 2 is actually not possible, or at least not easily possible, using the plot. And since I don't think it's of a huge amount of use either, we're not going to do that. Graph option 1 is pretty much the same as graph option 3, but with a little difference. So we do the same plots as we've just done in 3 when we first applied to the chart, but then we need to keep on updating it. So we do that, we set the flag, we know that we've plotted it once, we now need to update that over and over again. So we recalculate the standard deviation, we do the same plot that we've just done before using the 0 to numbars -1. But the key thing here is that we need to turn the plot at numbars to transparent, and I'll just show you exactly why that is the case. So I'm going to turn this to cyan, for instance. So I'm changing it from transparent to cyan just for the middle line. I'm going to verify this by pressing F3 and going to go back to the chart, and you'll see now that we've got this line. We're using option 1 at the moment. You'll see that we've got this line. So what I did was I set this to be equal to C numbars. So what we'll see is that this line will go to the close of each of the previous bars for the old bars that are no longer part of this particular linear regression channel. But I think you need to be too concerned about that. Just note that you need to actually have this little bit of extra code. So the other good thing about using the plots is that we can actually use them with a seconds chart or a tick chart or whatever. And in fact, what I've done, as well as this program, I've created another version which is just simply the plots, which is a lot more simple, and I'll probably just introduce that in a second very short video. So thank you very much.